I have played a lot of cozy games, but none have felt quite like this. I wasn't expecting Jusant to become a comfort game. It's a game about climbing, but somehow it became so much more. So today I want to share with you Jusant's 6 beautiful chapters and share with you how somewhere along the way this little adventure climbing game became one of my most loved games of all time. And maybe, just maybe, it will become yours too. Hello everyone, and welcome back. So let's start off with talking about Jusant and what the blurb of the game actually is. Jusant is an action puzzle climbing game where you scale an immeasurable tall tower and ascend to new heights alongside your watery companion. You master climbing tools and find your way through diverse biomes and piece together the tower's past by finding letters and correspondence and pictures. And it's a really peaceful and laid back game because you can play at your own pace, and it has a really atmospheric soundtrack to go with the game. And on some sections, there are even different paths that you can choose from. So you can choose the harder climb, or you can choose a slightly easier path if you feel comfortable doing it that way. And the game is split up into 6 chapters, and we will start at the very base of the tower in chapter 1. Chapter 1, Daymark, is all about learning new things. So you learn new controls, you learn about the new world, you look at the new graphics, and it starts off so beautifully. The game doesn't tell you much at all. The intro is a cutscene with no voice, no text box, and no long intro. It's done so beautifully. And what I love about this one is that you can interpret it however you want. And throughout this game, you can do that as well. It's like your interpretation of this game can be completely different to how the developers thought about this game, or even the next person who played this game. And I really find that really beautiful and stunning about this game, is that you can take your own thoughts and feelings from the game, and there's no set idea of what this game means. Because you're getting used to everything being new here, the climbing is very slow. Not in a bad way, it means it's very peaceful and you feel very connected to the world. Like, the game is trying to teach you how to be relaxed and how to take your time with everything, and that you don't have to rush through trying to beat the best time or trying to complete it in a certain amount of minutes. It kind of reminds you to just slow down and look around the scenery. The scenery is absolutely breathtaking, and I absolutely love looking around as many times as I can. There is also, on your way through the whole tower, there is things to collect or to look at. So there are letters and correspondence, either from people who used to live in this tower or from a girl called Bianca, and you find out more about her story as you climb up the tower. And you get to find out more about the residents who used to live in the tower as well as you climb up. And I love this part of the game. There is text and you do have to read it, but the stories that are mingled in with all of this beautiful game are so fun to read, and it made me want to keep climbing to find out more about these people and see if they had more stories or if there were more people.
and you could find correspondence between different people or complaints or newsletters, and it was so much fun to read. And Bianca's story is so beautiful, and we will get to that later in the video. In this first chapter, the game also tells you that if you play with a controller, you will get a better experience than when you play with a keyboard and mouse. I have played with both, and I will say that a controller does have a slight advantage because you can use the R1 and L1 buttons rather than the left and right mouse button to change hands while climbing. But I have to say, the controls are so intuitive and they are so good on this game. You can really tell that people have made this game who are climbers. So as you climb higher, you get to the next chapter, chapter 2, Migration. Right after you complete chapter 1, this is where you're also introduced to the ballast, which is the tiny blue creature that is sitting in your bag, and it is a water creature that can wake nature and reveal clues to you. And in chapter 2, it is so much fun to climb onto these plant-like things and activate the ballast, and it sends you flying up the plant. I really enjoyed those, and you start to get the hang of climbing. It kind of becomes a rhythm as you start to climb higher and higher. I played with a mouse and keyboard for this video, and it was really fun to try a different controller method than what I'm used to, but you really get the hang of it quickly and you find yourself just doing it without thinking, and it's where it becomes really fun and like a rhythm and a dance. There is no danger in this game and there is no death sequence, so if you fail and if you fall, the character does make a noise, but nothing really happens. You just have to start the climb again to where you last put your anchor points or pitons. This game's also a great reminder to just realise that it is a beautiful cozy game that is a real quiet space for you to relax and take your mind off everything that you've been thinking about for the day and literally just be present in the moment. You can explore little bits of places, and there are pictures and letters, and you can place rocks on those stacked rock piles, and it was just a lovely moment to just look around at the world and see how far you've come and see how far you've still got to go. As you started to climb, it also had some sections that began to feel a bit harder, and I loved that about this, where it wasn't always really small, easy climbs. You could feel the climbs getting a little bit longer and feeling like you really needed to think about your next move. And they added different elements like the elevators and zip lines, which were so much fun, or using the rappelling rope to descend on it and then swinging left to right to rappel yourself on different areas. But chapter 3, Solstice, is where it starts to get serious. In this chapter, the biome completely changes and it becomes very hot and the sun is beating down. So your climbs are very scary and very exhaustive. There are longer stretches and more complex routes, and it makes you wonder whether you will actually reach the top before your stamina runs out. But Jusant always gives you time to relax. What I love about Jusant is in so many other games, the difficulty can feel really loud, but here it feels very quiet. Like if you go steadily and gently, and it feels very safe still, even when the sun is beating down and your stamina is running out and it feels like you'll never get to the top. Somehow it still feels very safe. And that's what I love about this game. You still get the tension without the stress. It feels a lot more desert-like up here, and there is even remnants of temples with gold outsides and blue tiles, which are stunning. But the climbs themselves are beautiful as well. They even have things like little rock creatures which you can grab onto, and they take you up through the tower, and you have to really concentrate on where the route you need to go is. And this ends with a beautiful cutscene with a massive circular moving table that glows and a huge rock creature that comes out of the middle of the tower. Chapter 4, Convergence, has to be my favorite chapter in this whole game. It is absolutely stunning. You are completely inside the tower. You don't get to see the outside world as you are exploring. And to me, it looks like the canal, or they've built a river in the middle of this tower, and they've tried to separate the water to try and save it, which still didn't help, unfortunately. But you've got all these like bioluminescent plants or nature that are glowing now, which help you see where you are going, basically. But they are so beautiful, and I just had so much fun discovering and looking at all of these places. They also introduced sparks, which, when you call them, help to guide you further up the tower or up your climb. And this one was just so much fun to explore because it just felt so giant to me. I felt like such a small person in such a giant world. Whereas climbing the outside of the tower, I knew the tower was huge, and I knew that I was climbing somewhere big where I didn't know the end goal. Whereas this, you can kind of see the proportions and you can see where the water would have risen to. And for me, that just felt more substantial, if that makes sense. This also had the most beautiful place that I've ever seen, with jellyfish just flying around a massive open cavity. And when I saw this for the very first time, probably about 2 years ago now, I just sat there and stared at it for like 5 minutes. It was so beautiful, and I was just in awe of what I was seeing. And then you get to climb through it, and you get to zip line through all of these jellyfish. Is just so beautiful. And I think it's a memory that I will always cherish, being able to see this for the first time and get to experience it. The music in this game is phenomenal, but the music at this section just paired perfectly with it, and I was just speechless being able to see this bit. With this one, it ends with a cutscene of sparks coming through open vents and it lighting up with the ballast's blue energy, and you being carried off through these vents with thousands of sparks to the next destination. It is stunning. And chapter 5, Mirage, gets you climbing higher than ever, where you don't see the bottom and you don't see the top. This is where the wind picks up and the music swells, and for a moment you feel like you're being carried by the wind and by the music. It almost feels like you forgot to breathe for a second, and when you get to the top, you finally exhale. These climbs are even longer, with even more complicated routes. With everything you've experienced before, plus propellers, and the biome is completely changed to wind. So when the wind changes direction, it means you will be carried off in that direction. So you could go up the tower and be flung up, or you could go sideways or down, and you need to work out which way the wind is changing to perfectly suit your need. And in this chapter, it ends with the longest climb you've completed so far, and the wind picks up even more and depletes your stamina even faster. So you need to make really quick decisions about which way to go or how to conserve your stamina the best. And what I love about Jusant is that it has different routes you can take on the climb up. And so you can pick the route that's best suited to you. So you can try the really hard routes, or you can try a slightly easier route. And what I love to do, especially as I played it a few times, is I really love to try and challenge myself with either not putting as many pitons down as unless I have to, or trying to not deplete my stamina as much as I have to, and really concentrate on the stamina bar that you see on the right hand side. But even if your stamina bar depletes all the way, the character just kind of lets go of the rope, and again, there are no death sequences or failures. It just means that you need to start from where your last piton was placed, or the last save point from your climb. There are not many places to explore in this windy area. There are a few little letters and there are a few pictures to find. But overall, it's really about the climb and progressing to the very top. And it really feels like you're finishing the game. And when you finally get to the top, there is no fanfare, and it's quiet satisfaction that you have that you've made the top of the tower and you made it to your end goal. And there is a stunning cutscene with this. And I really don't want to spoil it for you if you want to play the game. So I will leave a timestamp of where you can skip to if you don't want any spoilers of the very end of this game. So with the ballast's blue energy, you activate a spinning rotary, and this brings to life the tower itself, and a giant ballast appears from the clouds, which is beautiful, and lets you climb aboard. And the next goal is to climb on this ballast and not get swept away as you are taken higher and higher above the tower, as the ballast wants to show you what is happening in the tower itself and to all the other ballasts. And this sequence is beautiful and it's so well done. I love when it's like an interactive cutscene, and this is so good. When you get to the end goal, you move into chapter 6, Syzygy, which actually means a roughly straight line configuration of 3 or more celestial bodies in a gravitational system in astrology. And the ballast crash lands into this beautiful cavern like snowy area, and this is fully walkable, by the way. You can fully walk the whole entire cavern, which I have done in the past, and it's absolutely stunning. I cannot tell you how beautiful this is to actually see it in real life on the screen. The moon, or the planet that you're looking at above, is beautiful. The stars and the constellations are beautiful, and the further you walk away, the more intense it starts to look. And you need to go to this tower that has constellations on it to help the ballast. Now, I'm saying this as this is my interpretation of the game, as obviously there is no words and no text. So this can all be up for interpretation and can be completely different to what you see the game as. But how I interpret it is the ballasts need us to help turn on this tower, to help them survive. And the tower is extraordinary. It looks quite small from your perspective, but then you walk closer and closer and closer to it, and it's just enormous and it is breathtaking. At first, it's not really clear what to do, but then you start to kind of walk around it and see you need to climb up the outside of this tower. And what I do now is I like to light up the whole tower. So every climbable node, I will call them, lights up, and every constellation that you can see is climbable on there, and they light up once you touch them and once you climb onto them. And there is constellations on both sides of the tower, on the back and on the front. And I like to light up both sides. And this can be quite a good challenge for you as the very last chapter in the game, because it takes some skill with your rappelling and with your double jumps and all of the tools that you have, and you have to keep going backwards and forwards between the two sides to get everything glowing. But once you are at the top, oh my god, it is stunning. It is beautiful, and the cutscene at the end is just phenomenal. Again, it is very similar to the other cutscenes. You kind of blow into this conch shell to activate the powers, but as you do, you start to glow even stronger, and the ballasts start to wake up from the snowy underground, and you can see them rise, and the towers start to move and it start to swirl, and it is so beautiful. The baby ballast that has been your partner throughout starts to awaken, and they start to rise in the air, and they're able to fly now, and actually disappears off with the large ballasts and goes off with them, as I think you were supposed to reunite them with the ballasts, and that was the idea of the story. And after all of that, it finally rains, and it's so beautiful. It finally rains in the tower and ends the drought. So you still might be asking, why is Jusant my comfort game? And I really didn't expect Jusant to move me the way it did, especially with hardly any text. It became my comfort game, not because it was cozy in the usual ways, like no farming, no decoration, no quests, because it listened. It gave me space, and in that space I found calm. It allowed me to relax and just enjoy a cozy game, not rush into completing it, and not worry about what would happen if I failed. And it allowed me to make up my own dialogue of the story and think about what my own feelings would be for a game. And it didn't have to be the right way to play a game. It didn't have to be the right way that the game was supposed to have storytelling. It could be my own way, and I found that really beautiful. And if you are feeling overstimulated, burned out, or just tired, Jusant might be exactly what you need. It is quiet, it is thoughtful, and is so beautifully human. And if you love games like A Short Hike, Spiritfarer, and Journey or Sky Children of the Light, then this belongs on your list. Even if you have never tried a climbing game before, it's a game for people who want to feel something without being shouted at. A game that reminds you it is okay to go slow, and sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones told in silence.
We all need something that lets us slow down now and again. A game, a moment, or just a place that lets us relax. And for me, that is Jusant. Let me know in the comments down below what is your favorite comfort game to do this with, or if you are going to consider playing Jusant now. And thank you so much for being here with me. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe down below for more cute and cozy games. We do so many on this channel. We do gaming news, gaming tips, we do gaming guides, so many things. And I hope you have an amazing rest of the day wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!